Hey, what's up? My name is Tyson Brown and I want to welcome you to Tyson's Fitness Tips podcast. This is Australia's top health and fitness podcast to help you lose weight, look good with your shirt off, feel confident in your body, and finally achieve the goals you want with your health and fitness. So 5 days a week, I'm going to be giving you top information from myself and also from leading experts in the field so you know everything you need to do to get in the best shape of your life. From nutrition to mindset to workout, everything is covered in this podcast and you need to go nowhere else. So like I said, it's going to be 5 days a week, Monday to Friday, in your ears with quick actionable segments that you can implement straight away, because the most important thing is that you can put these things into play. Also, if you listen all the way to the end of the episode, you're going to get 2 special gifts that you can download upon listening to it. So make sure you listen all the way to the end to get those free gifts, okay? So let's get into the episode. Good morning. It is Monday morning again. I'm doing my morning walk. It's actually not as cool as it was last week, so I thought the weather was getting worse, but it's actually not too bad. It is about 5 o'clock. I am walking down the back streets where it's nice and quiet, so cars aren't going to make fucking noises when I'm trying to record this podcast, because the last thing I need is to have to try and edit cars out, even though I never do, but it's just a pain anyways. So I am thinking, I want to tell you a story. So when I was started studying the side of nutrition side of things, I went to this talk from one of my mentors, and the course I'm doing now is called Mac Uni, which is Mac Nutrition University, and his name is Martin McDonald. And so I went to one of his talks, and one thing that he was talking a lot about was the role of fat loss. And like, he was talking a lot about just training for fat loss, training for muscle gain, talking all things nutrition. But then he said one thing that really stood out to me. And the one thing that he said that made a lot of difference to how I thought about things is eat for fat loss, train for muscle gain. Right? So I'm going to say that again. Eat for fat loss, train for muscle gain. Now, what does that mean? That means that when you're in the gym, you need to be pushing yourself hard. You need to be using progressive overload, which means you need to be going harder than you were last time, and that can be done by increasing the amount of reps you do, increasing the amount of weight you use, anything that's going to make the workout a little bit harder than what it was last time. Or it could be adding in extra sets. So if you did 3 sets of 60 kilos with the bench press, you have 3 different ways you could change it up. Number 1, you can increase the reps from 3 sets of 10 to 3 sets of 12. Number 2, you could increase the weight from 3 sets of 10 with 60 to 3 sets of 10 with 62.5. The third way you can do it is to increase the set, so you do 4 sets of 60 with 10 reps. And any of those variables now increase the load you've done, increase your volume, and will increase progressive overload. And when you increase progressive overload, what that's doing is that it's stimulating your muscles, and that is telling your muscles, hey, it's time to grow, it's time to get bigger, it's time to, we're using the muscles. And so if you're training like that, you're going to constantly be gaining muscle in the gym. Slow and steadily, you will gain muscle over time, right? Now, whether you build the muscle or not comes down to the nutrition side of things, and it's protein and calorie requirements, right? So whether you're trying to whether you're trying to lose fat or gain muscle is going to depend on how many calories you're having, but you can still gain muscle in a fat loss phase, and you can still lose fat, you can still gain muscle in the fat loss phase, sorry, is what I was trying to say. So what's going to be the most important thing for you when it comes to eating for fat loss is figuring out which is going to be the best thing for you, what type of diet's going to be the best, paleo, Atkins, if it fits your macros, keto, whatever it's going to be, whatever you can adhere to that's going to keep you in a calorie deficit and that's going to make you have high amounts of protein, right? And if you do that, if you eat for fat loss and train for muscle gain, you're going to get the best results possible. Because what a lot of people are doing is they're trying to, when you're trying to lose weight, trying to lose fat, people, like you'll see coaches give you lower amounts of volume, give you less of a workout. So like, you might have done a workout that takes you an hour, now you're only doing a workout that takes 45 minutes. And instead of doing 3 sets, you're doing 2 sets. And instead of doing 12 reps, you're doing 10 reps, things like that. And you're actually not training for muscle gain, right? But you still need to be actively training for muscle gain because the body still needs to be pushed. And if the body can't lift as much weight, or the body can't do as many reps, or the body can't do as many sets, it's not going to be trying to optimize gaining lean muscle. So you should be really still trying to push yourself as hard as you can in the gym, and then the rest of the time eating for fat loss. So making sure you're on a calorie deficit and having high amounts of protein. And that is what I'm doing at the moment. I am making sure my meals, I'm following intermittent fasting because it's easy for me to stay away from food. I won't eat until midday. I'll stop eating at 8 p.m. I'm in a calorie deficit. I'm having much above my 200. Sorry, I'm having more than my 2 grams per kilogram of body weight, which doesn't bother me because I like having protein. It keeps me full, and I know that I'm getting definitely an adequate amount of protein in a day. And I'm training really hard. My sessions are a minimum an hour, and they go up further, and it's just keeping me on the right track for gaining muscle mass. And you're going to see over time, if you're consistent with that, if you're consistent with eating in a calorie deficit and training really hard, you're going to notice big differences. Because we used to think you can't gain muscle on a calorie deficit. And the truth is, you can definitely gain muscle on a calorie deficit. There are studies that have shown people in a 40% calorie deficit, that means if you're eating 2,000 calories a day, if you were supposed to eat 2,000 calories a day to maintain weight, these people were eating 1,200 calories a day and they were still able to gain muscle. And that's good news for you because now that we know that, you can focus on, because we always said, don't focus on trying to build muscle in a cutting phase, only focus on trying to maintain your muscle. And that's not the truth anymore. Now that we know that you can gain muscle mass while you're cutting, you can push yourself really hard in the gym with weights and reap the benefits as long as you're keeping your protein high. Now, also, when I say eat for fat loss, when I say calorie deficit, a calorie deficit, for those of you who don't know, means you're eating less calories than you burn, okay? So I've talked about this in another episode, but I'll just give you a quick reminder. If you're eating 2,500 calories a day and you're staying at the same weight, you're already calorie maintenance. So what you need to do is you need to eat less than that to burn fat. Now, you want to go on a 500 calorie deficit, like roughly, because that means you will be able to lose roughly half a kilo a week. So as long as you say, okay, if I'm supposed to be eating 2,500 calories, I'm maintaining my weight, now I'm going to eat 2,000 calories, so I can start losing fat, you're on the right track. And then from there, what's going to happen is you're going to slowly, because you don't want to lose weight, like fat, too quickly. And the reason I say that is because if you try and cut too quickly, it becomes hard very, very quickly. You're probably going to increase the risk of losing muscle mass because you're going so fast. So if you slow it down just a little bit and you aim for that 500 calorie deficit a week, what's going to happen is you're going to be much more successful when it comes to losing fat and gaining lean muscle. Because even though we talked about a 40% deficit, they're for people who, those people still gain muscle, they're for beginners. So if you're not a beginner and you've been training for a while, it's not going to be as effective. So if you're on that 500 calorie deficit, it's enough to not make you feel like you're restricted. And then you've got to find out what's going to be suited, like what's going to help you get in that deficit. Is it going to be following the paleo diet? Is it going to be following If It Fits Your Macros, where you track your calories and your macros, which is what I'm a big proponent of? Is it going to be, I don't know, is it going to be veganism maybe? I don't know, whatever it's going to be for you, you've got to be able to choose something you can adhere to. Like, I do intermittent fasting because I don't get hungry around breakfast time. I just don't. I can just keep going and going and going. But if someone like you who needs that breakfast to live, then intermittent fasting isn't going to be your best option and you may need to try something else. So your goal is to keep experimenting or to get an idea, have a look at the diets out there, have a look at things like that and get an idea of like, okay, maybe this will suit me. Because if you can set yourself up for eating for fat loss and training for muscle gain and using progressive overload and pushing yourself a little bit harder every time you're in the gym, you are going to make some pretty awesome results. And once you start making awesome results, you're going to be good. You're going to be lean. you're going to be muscular, you're going to lose a lot of body fat, and not much muscle mass, and you're going to be laughing because you got the results. So I want you to think about that. I want you to think about training for muscle gain, eating for fat loss. When you get in that mentality and you're like, okay, let's set up my diet for fat loss. I'm not going to try and turn my training into like cardio and stuff like that. I'm going to turn it into muscle gain. So I'm going to focus on lifting weights. I'm going to focus on progressive overload. I'm not going to be running myself into the ground every session. I'm not going to turn my weights into like a circuit style. I'm going to train for muscle mass. And when that happens, then you're going to be making a lot more progress. Then you're going to get the body you deserve. Then you're going to look a lot better with your shirt off, because you have a good amount of muscle mass and no fat. So that is the end of episode 1. I hope that was helpful. If you have any questions, you know where to find me on Instagram at Tyson the Trainer with 2 R's. And until next time, which will be straight after this one, but Tuesday for you, I will speak to you then. Have a great day.
Hey, thanks for listening to the podcast. I really appreciate it. So now you've listened all the way to the end. That means you get some free goodies. So what you can do is you've got 2 different options, or you can take them both. I've got an intermittent fasting cheat sheet and a high protein 20 recipe meal guide designed specifically for you in your situation. These meal plans and this intermittent fasting guide is designed to help you burn stubborn belly fat and get in the best shape of your life. So all you have to do is go to the show notes, click on the download link, and they'll get sent straight to your email address. It's as simple as that. They're completely free. They're going to help you transform your body. So go to the show notes now and download the free guides, and I'll speak to you in the next episode.